Hi, friends, and welcome to another In the Weeds, the official CCL halftime show presented by Roll20. I'm Gilly, and I'm here with LegacY, the new starting support player for Simplicity. Hey, LegacY, how was your break for CCL?
It was good. I had some nice time off of my day job, so I was off for like a week and a half between Christmas and New Year. So that was really nice to be off work and be able to actually play a lot. Ironically, my brother got COVID right before.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so like right before Christmas, and was in town visiting. So I was. Luckily, it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
He had like a very mild case, but I had to like self-quarantine for 2 weeks, so I just played quite a bit during that time. So it was good practice for the upcoming tournament.
Wow. Well, I'm glad you got some practice time in, some rest time. I'm so sorry those were the circumstances, and I hope everyone is okay. Yeah, it's a very crazy time, but we're trying to make the most of it with video gaming, that's for sure. How has the CCL season been from your perspective? Because I had talked to Lutano at I think right before week 2, and he said that you all would probably have a slow start because you had some different people out. Do you feel like you guys have kind of made it back to the point that you had hoped, or are you still looking to obviously go further?
Yeah, I mean, so I can kind of take that as both individually and as a team perspective.
Yeah.
So individually, my journey was quite a bit different than a lot, since I wasn't drafted to start.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a bunch, pre-draft, like playing a bunch of in-houses, making highlight video, all that, but unfortunately wasn't drafted. So ended up putting together a team called the CCL Rejects, which was basically like the people I thought were like the top people not picked, and kept screaming and had good results. And I think that's kind of what helped get me noticed to get picked up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll say from like perspective, from starting as an individual of not being on a team and getting on one, and now eventually starting come playoffs, it's been really exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't necessarily foresee this journey. As a team, I would agree with Lutano's perspective early on of having a slower start. I think especially in the mid few weeks of CCL,
Mm-hmm.
I think we got like 3-0'd like 2 weeks in a row or something like that. And then the last few weeks, I think we've really been starting to hit our stride. And I also think the past few weeks we've been scrimming more than pretty much any other team. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really hopeful to see some positive results this weekend, and hopefully into next weekend.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get your perspective, because you were saying how excited you were going into playoffs. But first, talking about you being the new starting support for Simplicity, I kind of wanted to just hear about the process of you switching to be on the main squad, and from your perspective, what that's been like trying to find your groove with the rest of the squad.
So it actually, one of the reasons that Simplicity picked me up in the first place was Collusions had a really busy work schedule and school schedule.
Sure.
So the team wasn't really able to scrim much. And so we kind of hit that mid-season lull because we weren't able to scrim, and the team wanted to be able to scrim more. So they, picked me up to try and kind of just get more reps in together, improve as a team. And so I've been playing with the team quite a bit even before the change.
Okay.
And so really it's synergy that has been already building in scrims from playing with them.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as like the actual process, I just showed up to scrims one day, and the team was just like, yeah, we all talked about it, and we've been winning most of the scrims you've been in. We think your communication's really good, and want to try you in starting. So it's obviously something that I was giving my all every single day coming into scrims, treating every scrim as the backup player as if it was a game. Obviously hopeful to get noticed, but wasn't necessarily expecting or thinking that this would happen. So
I mean, what does it mean to you for this to happen at like such a pivotal part of the season too?
It means a lot from like a personal perspective.
Yeah.
For them to put so much faith in me. I played one game in the last week of the season, and that was nice to get the experience. But I think it shows a lot of what they think of my play, and I'll just say like courage they have to make a switch like this without really regular season games to test it out in matches. But trust me, like that means a lot, especially when I look at this roster that's full of all people that were in HCC that I used to be watching. It's a pretty cool experience.
Yeah. Well, if history of CCL has shown us anything, I think not to say that the old guard, the old HCC players, they've still got it in a lot of ways, but there's this vanguard of really awesome players who just kept the grind going even after HCC was canceled, even maybe potentially not having been noticed. And I know you're one of them, playing in the grassroots scene and different things, and that they really can stand up with some of those old guard too. So I think that's really awesome to see. I'm so excited to get to continue seeing you with the team going into playoffs this weekend. Yeah. How have you coming in now for Collusion? How has it changed the dynamic of the team?
I don't know that it changed too much from a team dynamic. Like I said, I was already scrimming a lot with the team.
Sure.
I think from just a general perspective, I feel like Masquerade and I have had pretty good synergy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is one thing that's been good, and things that I think that I bring to the table is like positivity. I think there's a lot of times where you have a random death or things like that that a lot of teams can kind of struggle of like building out of there. So I think one thing I'm very big on is like, it's all right, we just play for this fight, try to talk through what our win cons are and how we get to that point. So I think I bring a lot of that, and also I'll call it like a off switch.
Okay.
I think if you've watched the team the past few weeks, I feel like almost at least once a series there's a game where we're playing that seems like it's pretty much ours, and then we overextend and throw. And I think I kind of see a lot of that before it happens, and I'm maybe a little risk averse in terms of that, but more so just kind of sitting back, how I was talking about our win cons and visualizing those and communicating them, also thinking through the enemies and seeing those fights that they're looking for, and kind of telling everyone to back off so we don't throw for a random camp or whatever.
Hey, that big picture person is super important. It's very important. And having that synergy with support and tank player, of course, is absolutely crucial. I just think personally, looking at the season, the stories of you and Masca, it'd be pretty cool to see you guys, come in here at the playoffs and really put on a show. So, speaking of playoffs, who do you see as, the biggest opponent of the four who are in the gauntlet? Your biggest opponent. Are there any teams that really scare you, or any teams that you look as the big ones to have to beat?
I wouldn't say any team scares us. I think our both our match results last few weeks, we lost 3-2 to 2. Top 3 teams shows that we're playing well. So I don't think we're really scared of any team. If I had to pick a team that I think will be the biggest challenge, assuming we get there, would be 30K, just because I wasn't playing at the time, so I wasn't in the games, but the last time we faced them, we got 0-3'd. So I think 30K would be our biggest challenge of the gauntlet, and they're the team sitting at the top of the gauntlet for a reason. So
what do you feel is the before we get to that, you guys play the winner of Granite versus Chili Mountain in the match that this interview will be before. Who do you expect to face, and who would you prefer to face?
Ooh, it's a tough one, because they played a few weeks ago and Chili Mountain won, but Granite kind of trolled some of their drafts. I don't remember everything specifically, but I remember there was a butcher game in there and things like that. So maybe they were just experimenting. Maybe they thought it was good. Maybe they'd played it in scrims and won with it or something. But I think Chile has had some time now with their new roster that I would, if I had to guess, considering Chile beat them recently and they've had some more time with their team synergy, that I'd probably guess Chile Mountain to come out of it.
Wow, that'd be crazy. Is that who you'd prefer to face? Do you have a preference?
I don't really have a preference, but if I had to pick one, I guess I would say Chile Mountain.
Okay.
Not for like in-game reasons, but I mentioned earlier a bunch of stuff that I did pre-draft to try and get drafted. One of them was, I think I did interviews with like 4 or 5 of the orgs, Chile Mountain being one of them. And I think, talking to them, that they were the team that I was, I guess, most likely to get picked by, or I thought had the highest chance of getting picked. So it'd be nice to, play them and, obviously ideally win and kind of show them like what they missed out on.
Get some revenge. I love it.
It's kind of weird because it's not really like revenge because, they were all really nice to me. Like I really enjoyed our discussions and everything. So it's not really like a revenge, but just more of like a, hey, you guys messed up.
You missed this. What can you do?
Yep.
Well, LegacY, thank you so much, and best of luck to you in the finals. Do you have any, or in the playoffs, and then maybe the finals? Maybe I'm foreshadowing a bit. Do you have any shoutouts before we go?
Yeah. First of all, obviously, shout out to Simplicity. Shout outs to my teammates for trusting in me to give me this spot. Shout outs to Party Foul for deciding to pick me up. I think the team had some say in that as well, but obviously getting picked up was the first huge mountain to climb, so shout outs to him for that. Shout outs to I mentioned him earlier, but those CCL reject teammates that basically when scrimming after we didn't get picked, I think that really showed off a lot of my skill set and led to me getting picked up. So definitely want to shout them out. I'll shout them out by name too. Tremor, Mason Blaze, Fancy Pants, and Maka. If you don't know them, you should get to know them because they should all be in CCL Season 2. And then thanks obviously to HeroesHearth for bringing this all together. It's an amazing tournament. It's really fun to see the revival of HOTS.
Totally agree, and that all comes back to you guys watching, so thank you all so much for watching another In the Weeds presented by Roll20, and thank you finally LegacY for joining me for an interview.
Absolutely. Thank you.